What is up, y'all? It is the 12 Round Podcast, and I'm your host, TNYG, in the place to be. And today we have Mr. Hustle Hard himself.
Hey.
Tony G.
Tony G.
Also in the place to be.
Also in the place
What's
to
up,
be.
Man? Welcome to 12
Blessed,
Rounds.
honored. Thank you so much for having me here.
Sure, man. You are a hustler to the bone, dude. Like, I always see you everywhere. And, you know, this is the first time we've actually met, too. So This is cool. And I like it when it happens like this because we get to share a little bit more and I get to learn a little bit more about you and you know, vice versa.
Vice
or
versa.
whatever.
Yeah. I'm eager. It's weird that we haven't met in all this time.
Well,
but it feels like we know each other.
Yeah.
You know?
I took a big break from social media, dude. So, like, I mean, I wasn't on Facebook or anything like that for years, you know, and then finally, you know, with the whole, you know, break with the 12 Rounds podcast and Humble Vision Network, I was pretty much forced to be back on, you know, back on the platforms. and I did it, you know, hella reluctantly, dude, but, you know, I'm back. And so now I'm seeing everybody and everybody's doing their thing. And one of the things, man, that I really like seeing more nowadays than I used to see was how everybody's like backing each other up now. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Like I didn't used to see that much. And maybe it's just the circle that I'm like kind of putting myself in right away, I guess. Everybody's showing hella love, you know, and everybody's been showing hella love to the 12 Rounds podcast and and reaching, and like you reached out to us, you know, and that was tough, dude. And I like that, you know, because we get into a place too where, like, you know, our brains are all scrambled and like we don't know, you know, which artist next or what, you know, who should we, and we don't want to like disrespect anybody by, you know, not reaching out to them, but we've been really blessed with everybody, you know, wanting to be a part of this. So it's really cool,
when you have a great platform, great hosts, it's inevitable. People are going to reach out, and if they feel a certain way, that's on them. You know, that's on them. Of course, you're not a disrespectful guy. You're not trying to do that, but that's just kind of how it is when you get flooded with, you know, with people wanting to be a part of something great that you're building. It's just bound to happen. Some people are going to be rubbed the wrong way, but I'm grateful to have come across. I think the first episode that I came across was either Holistic Meditation and MC Monkey D. I think it must have been that episode that I saw, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. I love this.
Oh man, and we felt like we could have gone for another like 3 hours because I mean, we share a lot of the same views and a lot of the same thoughts too. So like when we get going, I mean, when we stopped, we were like, damn, bro, we didn't even get into this or this. And like we could have went off, and I was like, oh man, we didn't even want to get into any of that other stuff. We would have been talking forever. And you know, it's unfortunate, but we try to keep these, you know, these episodes, you know, to a manageable time frame or whatever.
Yeah, I'd be seeing 20 minutes on there. I'm like, dude, I can speak for hours. So, you know, want to run it a little bit more, we can.
Yeah, no, we can. No, definitely. And it's one of those two where, you know, when it's going, you know, super good or whatever, we'll just run it out or whatever. But, you know, on top of that, you know, I still got to make sure that, you know, I have like a little bit of uniformity to what we're doing. But
structure.
Yeah, some structure. Everything needs structure, dog.
Structure.
But yeah, man. So let's start with just a little bit of background on Mr. Tony G.
All right. So born and raised in East Los Angeles, California. Came up here to Idaho, beautiful state of Idaho that's embraced me so warmingly in 2010. Nice. Came up here just for a vacation. My mom was up here. She moved up here, and I loved it. I didn't like the fact that it was like there was no homework in school, which was weird. I was kind of like a nerd, a little bit low key back in the day, but there was no homework, and I didn't need to look over my shoulders. I can go to the store at night. I didn't need to lock my doors, so it was cool. Yeah. It was definitely it was a totally different environment from Los Angeles to here. But after I came up here, that's when I started to really dive into writing, because I've always been a writer, like poems and love songs and stuff like that. You know, trying to woo the ladies and stuff like that. But it really started happening when I got my heart broken. when my heart got broken, then I gotta, start writing them angry bars, and then it started. First it was like poetry, and then now it's more, like rap, hip hop, a little bit of pop in there too.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like, that's just like a super huge, a super very small summary of like me. Yeah. That's where I'm from. Who I am is totally different.
Right. No. So
yeah.
so like it's my job to see what you're up to or whatever as well. When we invite you on, and I see that you're into meditation.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's hella cool, dude, because like I've been trying to get into it myself, and the first style that I came across that really worked for me was like water meditation or shower meditation or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Like where they say you whenever you're having water run over you, it's most of the time that's going to happen. You're in the shower, right?
Right.
But so when that's happening, you're meditating and imagining and feeling all the negativity washing away with the water, so
that's powerful.
Yeah. So, and it's crazy too, because I do photography as well. And, I shot a picture of myself. I set my camera up,
right.
to shoot a picture every minute or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And while I was meditating, so it was like 10 minutes or whatever, where the water just hit me. And at this time I had a big old beard, dude, like, you know what I'm saying? And I set the shutter speed up. So it was like, it was catching every droplet, but like I caught a picture that was like super emotional, dude. I was like, wow, isn't that so crazy? Like I was just letting it happen, and I wasn't even thinking about the camera anymore because I was meditating, right?
Yeah.
But I thought, wow,
you just detached from the world.
Yeah. And then it comes across in the photo too. So that was hella cool.
That's
but
beautiful.
so with what type of meditation you do, what have you found is like the best for you?
So my meditation journey started after I broke my leg. I had a lot of time to sit and reflect and be just by myself and not be surrounded by so many people, so much energy going out, all that good stuff. And by that point, I already had stopped drinking. So I'm going on. I crossed over 3 years of no alcohol. So it's after I broke my leg that I started going outside. And I researched that the sun has healing powers and just vitamin like the moon, vitamin D. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go outside, see what the sun is all about, like just sit there and be in the moment. And I started off with just drinking coffee outside, which I've since given up. And I would just sit there. I like to speak out loud. Like when I read aloud. And so when I was doing the meditation, even though typically what you would think about is you sit, legs crossed.
Yeah. The typical meditation
right?
Stance
for me, that doesn't really do the trick. For me, it started off as saying things out loud, affirming to myself things, and visualizing, creating a story of what I am creating and what value I'm adding into the lives of others, like my friends, family, my community. I go in like huge detail, like go 30 minutes to an hour of just speaking aloud. And then it slowly started, like when the weather started to change, I'd go inside and I'd throw on a frequency, see what that's all about, tune in different frequencies, because obviously in being in music, frequencies are like the S and the sibilants. That could be annoying, but there's certain frequencies in our voice and in different things in life that just have healing properties. So then I started diving into that, and then I got into like the crystals and the gems and stuff like that, which also helped enhance, just grounding myself with the earth and just being connected to like the minerals. And then it was silent meditation. That's the next level for me, was like, you know what? Let me not speak it out loud. Let me just feel it. Let me close my eyes. And I just had a moment the other day. I think it was just yesterday or the day before that. I don't know if my days are always like busy.
I'm bad with time frames like that. I'd be like, yeah, man, the other day. And people would be like, that was like 2 months ago.
Right.
Like, what?
No,
I just remember like it was the other day. So,
but I had a moment. It was probably the 1st or the 31st, one of those 2 days. And I closed my eyes for like maybe 30 to 40 minutes. And I was just having a powerful moment. And I woke you're kind of like half asleep. Because I can almost hear myself snoring.
Oh, wow.
While I'm, but I can,
That
I
relaxed.
know, but I know what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And I just go over a list of like what I'm grateful for, what I desire, what I've done, the washing away all the negativity, letting go of envy, jealousy, frustrations, lust, all that stuff, just letting go of that stuff. And I opened my eyes and just tears started going down my face. Oh. And when I first opened my eyes, I thought I was like, oh, like I was probably just yawning and there's one tear from that. But no, it kept going and kept going. And I was just overwhelmed with joy. Because like it feels so real when you can not only visualize like, oh, this looks like this and I'm gonna have this much money, but it's like, what can you do with that for others? And like my whole life's purpose that I'm walking in is just to add value. So meditation is a big part of my life nowadays. Every day, every single day, meditate.
That takes a lot of dedication too, and a lot of what do you call it?
Consistency.
Yeah, consistency. When right before we started recording, we started talking about. I was telling you about the premise of this show, and so, you know, at some point, I like for the guest to share, like, you know, a point in their life where, you know, they faced hardship or whatever, and overcame it to, you know. It doesn't, like I always tell people, it doesn't ever have to amount in like super success or anything like that. But like there's pivotal points in everybody's life that, you know, they hit and then they have like an epiphany or whatever. And, you know, things change for them. What was that point for you?
The biggest blessing that I've received in my life was breaking my leg in 7 different places, the bone, ligaments, nerves, muscles, tendons.
What happened?
Trampoline accident.
Oh,
I was like in the best shape of my life, and I'm in best shape of my life now.
Yeah.
But I was unstoppable back then.
Yeah.
Just got in a good shape. Wasn't drinking. Wasn't doing drugs. Wasn't doing anything like that. Music was good, and it was crazy. I was racing with my niece down like one of the trampoline places, just racing down the terminal, and I saw a kid, like he just fell and he was like hurt. Like he was hurt. Like his leg was hurt. And I'm like, damn, that sucks for him. And then like a couple seconds later, man, I jump.
Instant karma.
But it was beautiful because there was a kid that was jumping from one lane to my lane over to the next. And I could have just, you know, corrected myself and gone forward. But in attempts to not hit the kid, I just went off to the side, landed on one leg, went forward and just snapped it. And that put me out because at first I thought it was like, I literally told the guy, I was like, just pull it back into place. Like, we're good. Like, we can shake it off. Like, it's not a big deal. But man, it was like the worst pain ever. And not only painful as far as the physical part of it, but it was also painful not having to, or not having the ability to move.
Yeah.
You know, like, because it wasn't just a minor break, it was a big break. My leg was super swollen. They had briefly said that they could have amputated the leg because it was the blood vessels were almost damaged and stuff like. And there was a whole bunch of stuff that went into it. But through that, let me just go into a little bit more detail with this because this is the biggest blessing of my life thus far. Before this happened, this miracle, 2 weeks before, I had told myself, okay, when I have this much money in the bank and have these things and my resume all lined up and all these different things, I'm going to quit my job. I'm done with this 9 to 5. I'm done with sitting down at the desk every day. I'm going to quit this coming Saturday. That Saturday came and went. I didn't quit. Next Saturday, I broke my fucking leg and I needed to sit down. And it allowed me the ability to be like, you know what? Let me use my savings. Let me invest in this and the machinery and like dive into recording, mixing, mastering, producing, and doing these things. And I haven't gone back to work since. That was in 2020.
Oh, so 2 years.
2 years. Yeah, we're gonna be at 3 years at the end of this at the end of this year. Yeah. So it turned into one of the biggest blessings of my life because I had to go through that. And I just, and I still have nerve damage, and there's still things. I'm still in rehab, physical therapy and stuff like that for the leg and for my body and my motion and stuff like that. But I haven't taken pills. I haven't taken any of that stuff because I'm like, you know what? And even for 5 hours after I had that big break, they said, do you want morphine? Do you want this? Do you want whatever, Norco, Tylenol? Yeah. No, I don't want it. Because if this is the worst it's going to feel, I want to feel every ounce of it. I want to feel the full pain. And then right before I went to surgery, they put the mask on. I went out, and then I woke up drowsy. And then I saw there was like some medicine that they were feeding through the tube. And I was like, okay, let's not do this anymore. I'm not gonna get into pills or anything like that, because I'm not going to allow the opportunity for that to overcome my life in some way. I don't have an addictive personality. I can give things up like that quick. That's just how I am. Yeah. But I don't want to chance it. But that was the most pivotal moment that I've had up to this point, is breaking my leg and making the most out of it. That's crazy. Meditating, reading, working out, and doing these different things to improve my life. Yeah. Not only because it was a necessity to have recovered to a certain degree with my leg, but the stars aligned. I had all these things. I had all these resources. I already had the drive. I already had the motivation through years and years of discipline. But this was the moment that was like, okay, the universe says, at first you ask what you want, then you desire it, and then you don't act on it, and then the universe says, okay, I gave you the opportunity. You had the money that you wanted. You had all the situations you wanted, but now, levántate, get up out of the chair. Right now is the time. I don't care if you fall on your face, but you're gonna get up. You're gonna get through that, and that was my moment, man. That was my moment.
That's crazy, dude, because it wasn't the most recognizable moment or pivotal moment in mine, but I also broke my leg. I only broke it in 2 spots though.
Hey.
And it was the same thing. Dude, it was the same thing. And my wife, she was like, let me get you this, let me get you that. And I was like, no, I'll get it myself, and I was up, dude, trying to as much as I could, because you can
doctor's orders.
Yeah. You can only do so much with your leg all, broken and stuff. So, but to me, it was like how you said, I was doing the most that I could. So that way I didn't have to rely on anything or anyone,
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I'm like, it's me that's going to have to deal with this, and yeah, so that led to a lot of the things that are happening now in my life, but it's kind of crazy that was kind of a turning point,
That's cool.
And it gave me the opportunity to get some more education under my belt and stuff like that. But because I was already doing, at that time when I broke my leg, I was already doing graphic design and stuff like that. So
you already had it figured out pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, for the most part, you had a direction.
But the breaking my leg was a bigger push, you know what I mean? So I totally I'm right there with you with that whole thing.
And I'm happy for you for that, because since I had that incident, I've seen people break a leg, break a foot, break an arm, whatever it is, even break a part in their back, and then I'm still seeing them going out on the weekends and still hanging around the same people, and not really capitalizing on the opportunity, because opportunities, they'll present themselves to you every single day in some way, shape, or form. You just have to execute. You have to recognize and you have to execute. Exactly. And I'm not saying that going out every weekend is a bad thing, but I don't fucking do that. Can I go on this?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I don't do that because that doesn't line up with my image, my identity. That's not who I am, and not my identity of what I'm portraying to people, but how I feel about it. Yeah. It didn't feel right after breaking my leg. Oh, let's go out downtown and let's still do the same stuff. This was a big moment in my life, and I needed to recognize it for what it was, and I'm so glad that I did and yourself did too. Yeah. That's awesome.
And I think things like that happen, God, or however you want to say that,
right?
Energy,
powers that be.
Yeah, whatever energy that runs this earth, love, whatever. Those things happen to us so we can, open our eyes to something bigger and better, you know?
Yeah.
And it's up to us to take that opportunity and go and figure that out, you know? Because I knew that I didn't want to, you know, because I did architectural metalwork for a long time in my younger years. And I knew that I didn't want to do that my whole life. And that's why, you know, I got a degree. And I knew eventually I'd fall back on that degree, which like what I'm doing now. But I've always been the type of person who, you know, I had to be physical all the time. So I stayed doing physical jobs until I couldn't anymore, you know? And so on top of breaking my leg, I also broke my back. So I went through surgery for all that and did the whole, you know, but yeah, I was just like you, dude.
I'm glad you recovered.
Yeah. Well, dude, there was nothing that was going to stop me. Like, so it was about 8-9 hours after my surgery. They came in and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna have you walk." And I was like, "Well, I don't even know how to get up, dude. I mean, I have, you know, they put screws and plates and all kinds of stuff in my back." Yeah. So they were like helping me up and super painful or whatever. And no, just like you, no morphine. People were like, "Oh, you must have had the good morphine." I'm like, I didn't have none of that, dude. Right? You know.
I mean, they gave me the stuff. I just don't take it.
Yeah. Well, when I first came out of the surgery, they had to. The pain was so intense that I don't even really like remember like the whole thing because I was still jacked up from the one when they put me under. But I guess I was like moaning from the pain, right? You know? And like I could take a lot of pain, bro. Right. And so they gave me more medicine. But after that, they were like, "Let's walk," and I got up and we walked to the hallway, and it was probably like maybe 10 feet. It was the desk of one of the secretaries, and she's like, "We're gonna walk to that desk, right?" And I was like, I looked up, and probably about 30 feet down was the exit sign above a door, and I was like, I want to walk to that exit sign, right? And she's like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Can I?" And she's like, "If you feel like you can." I was like, "I'm gonna do it." Yeah. Within 3 days, bro, I was already climbing steps. Cool. With my back freaking, you know, I still had tubes in my back, bro.
Right, like, external fixators and stuff like that.
But I mean, and then I also live in an apartment that's on the 3rd story. So when I got out of the hospital, I walked my ass up.
Training, huh?
Bro, it was like the Rocky. It was the Rocky song, bro. Dun, 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 dun. But seriously, you know. But it's those things that show us that we do have the strength to freaking, you know, get what we want and do what we want in life. You know what I mean? Yeah. So speaking of doing stuff, man, let's talk about a few of your projects, bro.
Well, I just dropped "Hey Now," the music video, which I've been promoting for like 50 plus days, just taking a clip of myself every single day, pushing it out there. That's the most recent, but I mean, I've dropped albums this last year, dropped singles like almost every single month. But this year is the year of flooding. So I don't have anything to say about what's coming, but it's a lot. Nice. It's a lot.
Yeah, I was reading your bio and I read that you dropped your first one in 2015. Yeah. Was that
Dream?
That was your first full length album, or was that a single?
It was a mixtape because it was like I ripped beats off of YouTube and remix old songs and stuff like that. So it was my first like body of work in some way that had a theme of chasing the dream, right? And I think that was nice. That was appropriate for the time, like chasing the dream. But now it's the other way around. Yeah. You know, the dream's chasing me. Yeah. You know, so but that's when it started. 2K15, The Dream, and man, I think it was like The Power of Pressure was the next one, and then it was The Balance Part 1, and then The Balance Part 2, which I co-produced. So I record, mix, master, and produce all my work now. But it was a collaborative effort that me and my friend Sin SXNN did for this last album, which I sold exclusively on my website, which is TNYGmusic.com. You can buy the album there. It's $20. You'll also get a physical copy of that as well. Nice. But I sold physical copies. I went on tour this last year. with Jay Meese, Young Chop, the Clumsies, some Oregon and California peeps, really dope peeps. But yeah, so I've been working, but this year is different. This year is a totally different monster is coming.
I like the fact that you still give fans the opportunity to have a physical copy of your music too, because
definitely
I was just talking about that on the last podcast, I think it was, where that's one of my favorite things is to, even when I was younger, dude. Well, when I was younger, it was the records, you know, like we'd be like, oh, it's the new one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big old freaking new one, you know. Sick. And you could pull out the the sleeve, and they would have, or would have the opening part of it, depending on what it was. But still, like even after CDs came out, man, one of my favorite things was to open up the CD and pull out, see if they had the lyrics in there, and like look at the producers and like see what songs the artist actually wrote and find out their real names. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, oh, freaking. This person, yeah, their real name's this. So if you see this on, whatever, it was like a real treat to have that.
I wonder why they don't do it now.
I don't know. It's
a lot of ghostwriters out there.
Yeah, for real, dude. Like, a lot of people didn't know that Dr. Dre doesn't write his stuff. He's a producer,
right?
And I'm like, well, doesn't it make sense? Like every time you hear him on a track with somebody, he sounds just like, or his verses sound in the same style as whoever he's doing the music with, whether it be Snoop Dogg or Eminem or whatever,
Right.
With Eminem, like
it's clear.
Yeah. But I think with Eminem, I think he found kind of a way to give Dr. Dre his own little style, even as a ghostwriter or whatever. So that's cool. When me and my little brother started our group, he didn't write at all.
Oh.
So I wrote for him, and I kind of had to do that too. Kind of like I had to figure out, like, basically like jump in his shoes and like figure out like what his
how his mind and how his style, how these words sound coming out of his mouth.
Yeah, and does it fit him? Does it look like him? And one of the things that his personality was, he was real good with the ladies, man. Then his rap name was The Lover.
Hey.
So it was real easy to kind of jump into that, persona or whatever for him.
Right.
But it didn't take him long to start writing. And then once he started writing for himself, man, he came out with some dope stuff, dude.
Yeah.
But
and I think I have conversations all the time with my close group is in the rapper store, and case in point, one of the producers there, he has this idea that all artists, I think this what it is. Don't hate me if I'm misquoting, but like that all artists should write their own work, and I'm the opposite. Like I've even co-written for other people, and some people have written for me, not full bodies of work, but like a little bit here and there, a line. Let me adjust this, say this word instead, and I think that's perfectly fine. I think a collaborative effort, two energies make for a better song. Yeah, and just like this is like a second opinion. Like it's okay to get a second opinion, but if you're confident in your work and your ability to do something, of course you can just do it yourself. But why not? Iron sharpens iron. Why not refine yourself a little bit more with somebody that's also doing it as well, and see where it goes.
Especially if you respect the person that's helping you write, because I've been there. I've helped people write, and I've also had people help me write. You know, and just like you said, it wasn't like full verses or anything like that, but it was like, hey, well, that sounds kind of wonky right there, bro. What if you change that up or whatever and said this? And
challenge yourself, like put like, because we're as artists we're so like meticulous and so like, oh no, I wrote this is so perfect.
The worst
came
critic,
out of me, you're right? Worst critic, but we're also our best critic too. So like we give ourselves too much credit in some ways and not enough in others. So I think having that second opinion when somebody is listening to an unreleased song, like just the lyrics kind of thing, it's okay to be open-minded and be like, okay, this could be improved if I do it in this fashion or say this word instead of this word. That's necessary.
Yeah. No, and especially if you're working on something that's freaking, that's like, you're trying to like pop off with a single, you're trying to like break the, break the market or whatever with some certain, style or whatever to making sure that everything is on point. And usually it's usually the best when you have somebody else like critiquing you as you go instead of like, getting it all done. And then you're like, what? You're trying to tell me what about my song,
Because now it's on wax and it's like, man, I don't want to go back and have to punch in this word or mix it differently. I mean, we still get those feelings even after we collaborate with one person because that might be just their style. Like me, if me and you did a song and we're co-writing each other's stuff, that's cool. Might be great between us, but somebody else might say, "Oh, this is trash," or like you should have said this, and it's like, fuck. You're always gonna get that. You're gonna get the good with the bad. Like you're gonna get both sides of everything, and I think it's just important for if you aren't an artist that hasn't been putting in the work and been writing songs, like try that first, and then after you've done that, after you've mastered that to a certain degree, be open-minded about collaborating, not only on a song like, hey, let me get you on a feature, bro, collab, bro. That's great too. That's cool to sharpen your pen and try to like have that competitiveness about it, but just see what it is. If you write with the country artist or if you write with the heavy metal band or whatever it is. I mean I did that this last year with a few different artists, and it helped me. It helped me write for them, and then it helped me in my own projects. So there's a lot of benefits to it.
Yeah, and that's one thing too about music or any art form. It's subjective, you know what I'm saying? So like not everybody's gonna like the same thing that you like or whatever, and it's like there's certain styles of paintings. Not everybody likes Van Gogh work, you know what I mean? Not everybody likes Michelangelo work or whatever, and that's perfectly fine. And it's up to us as artists to be okay with that too, because we're not going to have 100% of the likes, you know what I mean? And I think nowadays that's such a it's such a big way that artists validate themselves is through likes, you know what I mean? Do I have this certain amount of people that like my music or whatever, instead of just liking their music for themselves, you know what I mean? Because that's really, like, when I first started doing it, like, I thought, oh, like, what kind of music should I mimic or whatever, And I grew up with like New Edition, and like as far as the pop stuff was like New Edition, and like Curtis Blow was one of my big freaking, like, it. I mean, I don't rap anymore, but like when I did my stuff back in the day, like
he's gonna drop an album this year. Just wait.
Freaking Navarro keeps on telling me, bro, we need to do a track, man. Freaking 2026, what I'm saying?
Right.
But I, for me, like I felt like I've already exhausted that part of my creativity. Like I've moved on.
In your heart.
Yeah.
Like it's not like because you were saying that a lot of artists get hung up on like this many likes, this and stuff like that. That wasn't a discouragement for you. It was just like, hey, I don't feel it anymore.
Yeah.
Let me just move on to a different thing, and that's perfectly fine. That's okay to know when to hang the gloves up.
Yeah.
That's perfecly fine.
It's a good analogy.
There
too.
you go. What I'm saying? Looking around,
But it's true, man, because like I've never been a one particular type of artist. Like I have hella love for music. Like music has always been and will always be a part of me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm also a visual artist, and like I like to express myself visually too. And I think right now, especially like doing this. So this is like way out of my comfort zone, dude. Like
really,
if you would have asked anybody, they would have been like, MAG, a talk show host, a podcast? Oh, hell no. But I feel like in life, you always got to push yourself outside your comfort zone, because then you never know like where you could go. You know what I mean? And that's
look at you now.
That's part of the 12 rounds, part of the thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's the next round. You know what I mean? What's coming next, and what are you gonna do next? And and still like I there's still a lot of like nervousness and stuff that comes along with doing this podcast. But you take everything with a grain of salt and keep it moving.
Yeah, exactly. There's like we were having a discussion before the cameras came on, like 12 months in a year, 12 rounds in a fight. And if you're blessed for a rematch the coming year, then keep going. You know, just keep evolving. It's you versus you. You know, like there's no like it's me versus the world. It's me versus that guy that's doing so much better than me. And you know, like whatever it is, it's you versus you. You can only gauge your success based on what you want, where you're going, and where you've been. You can't base it on someone else. Like, oh man, look at Drake. I only get like 3 likes on my post. Yeah. But if we're judging our success based on likes instead of the value of what you're adding into somebody else's life and building with those people, those likes can mean nothing. They can just be passing and just like how it looks. Cool, click on it. They may not even know that you're quoting your own lyrics. They might just like it. Boom, click, whatever, move forward. But there's no real value in that. What's really valuable is when you can get is when you reach out to someone that you've engaged with and they've engaged with you, and you say, hey, how can I add value to your life? Hey, here's $5, here's $10, here, go buy a coffee. Oh, you want to go to my show? Here, I'll put you on my +1. Let me build that relationship with you before I try to ask for something. You know, let me sell you my CD. Like it's like when I grew up in LA, you go to the beach and they would throw headphones on you and put a CD in your hand. Yeah, it's like you kind of feel like forced to like, do I give it back to them? I don't like that.
You feel obligated because they went through so much trouble to try to get you there.
Right, just to get that attention. But that's approaching life from a scarcity mindset. Yeah. This world is so huge, so abundant. It doesn't even matter if 1 million people don't like my music. If there's another 1 million on the other side, it doesn't matter.
And it's all the different perspectives too, you know, that help build that. And it's funny because my Theo just started listening to my podcast, and he's like, Mijo, I know you say 12 rounds, you know, you go 12 rounds, and you know you add that to life, and you say you're successful because you went 12 rounds. Mm-hmm. He's like, but what if you don't win the fight? I said, well, you know what, Theo? It's not about winning the fight. It's about learning what to do next so you can win. Right. You know, it's about taking whatever you learned from that loss and building better. If you just go back into the fighting part of it, like what it means to actually fight in the ring. Mm-hmm. If you lose a fight, you figure out what you weren't the best at in that fight that, you know, didn't get you the win, and you work on those things. And in life, it's the same thing. You know, we build our bodies and our minds bigger and better. You know, not all of us will, but all of us can. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the biggest things that we try to inspire right here, you know, on this podcast, is that sometimes you feel like it's too big, you know what I mean? Like it's too much weight to try to carry, you know what I'm saying? But like we all have the ability. We all have the ability and the strength to do it. Mm-hmm. We just, you know, sometimes we need somebody's hand, you know, to help us, and that's fine, you know, as long as we're willing to keep going, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can see that weight as a burden, or you can see it as like, this is making me stronger. Right. And to kind of like piggyback off that, yeah, there may be only 12 rounds in a month in a fight, but there's the rematch. Yeah. Like I said, if you're blessed with another year, play those tapes, see what you did. If not, and everything exists on the internet, you know, indefinitely, right? Yeah. And on your phone, and like you can go to the Snapchat memories, you can go to your Facebook memories, and look at what you've done on this day 3 years ago, 5 years ago. Have you improved or not? That's self-awareness, self-analysis. Learn yourself, and get closer to self-mastery. You know, and it's okay to lose the fight. Yeah. I've lost fights. I've lost battles with myself. I've lost battles with other people, with heartbreaks, but I've grown from that. And in that moment, you may feel like this is the worst thing ever. But the more you get through it, the more things like breaking the leg doesn't feel like a big deal. Right. But even though it is a big deal, it doesn't feel that way because your perspective on it has changed. Right. And that's when paradigm shifts come into play. And you're like, oh, wow, I used to see it this way, and now I see it this way. And I can't see it the other way anymore. You know, like it's like those pictures that have like the two people in it, and you can't see the other way anymore. Yeah.
Or the one with the horse walking. Have you seen that one? It's like the horse walking.
Oh yeah. Which way is it moving or something?
It looks like it's going backwards or frontwards, and you can change the way it looks by just changing the way you think.
Exactly.
But and
that's how life is.
Yeah, and that was funny too, that when you were talking about your heartbreak kind of like throwing you into that realm of writing. You know, it's funny because a lot of artists will use that pain to write, and most of them, I think it was John Mayer, and I said this on another podcast. I think it was John Mayer who said that he involves himself in relationships just for the breakup, so he can write good songs.
Honestly,
you know what I mean?
I did that for a long time too. I'm like, you know what? This is gonna be my muse, and this is gonna inspire me. Even if we break up, I got a song or two out of this person. You know, like that's even though that is wrong to use a person for that purpose of like, let me extract what I can while I have it. Use circumstances to your advantage. You know, like a circumstance. It doesn't matter. Like the circumstance itself doesn't matter. What matters more is what you do during the situation to get yourself out or improve upon yourself. So, if you let a situation extinguish you rather than fuel you, that can make the biggest difference, whether it's good or bad. You know, and not be reliant on those things. Not be reliant on the heartbreak to keep you aflame and to keep you filled with energy and light that fire underneath your ass. You know, like. We don't need that.
Yeah, because you can become addicted to those types of things. You know what I mean? And
the drama,
and you think that you can't do what you're doing without that. You know, I think that's probably one of the biggest things with the artists, like in the '70s and stuff like that, when they would use to write. You know, and they felt like that made them better musicians or whatever. Right. And a lot of them used just to freaking get by and. And you toured, so you know it's a lot of work, man. Right. And I mean, it can literally just wear you down. Like there was times when I toured, there was times where like I'd get off stage, and I wouldn't even like I would just go straight to the hotel and like go to sleep, dude, because I knew that because it was my job, you know what I mean. So I felt like I had to give the best of me all the time on stage. But
sleeping in the car is a different thing, man. we my friend, he like helped carve out some those cushions that you can get at Fred Meyer's, and we put it in the back of my SUV, and just like one side is like where I would sleep, and the other side is like my merch, my table, my gear, my clothes, and all that stuff. Sleeping in the car, man, on the coast, that's beautiful, but the struggle is real for sure. So like when I had the Airbnbs or when I get the hotels like on a whim, those are the moments that you savor. Like you don't. I mean, the touring life is glamorous, has its benefits, but it's not always like, glamorous. Oh, I'm a rock star, I'm gonna get off stage, I'm gonna have these girls, and we're gonna do drugs, and like, if you want to burn yourself out, if you don't want to be here next year, but that's not who I am, and that's not who you were either. Like you're still here, you're still impacting your community, and that's my goal, is just to keep giving back, and I can only do that when I give to myself and when I'm selfish with my energy, with my time, but then I can do it for a selfless reason. Give back to people. So give your all on stage, and don't waste it on the after parties. You know, just go recover, rest your voice, drink some tea, some honey, and that, you know, drink it up.
Man, that's totally what it is, man. So when after we established the time and the date that you would be here, you said, thank you. Any way that I could add value, let me know. And you definitely added value to this show, brother. And
thank you.
I thank you for being here. How about you give people your handles, let them know where to find you, let them, your website, all your YouTube stuff.
Got it. Yeah. So you can find me at TNYG Music. I say TNYG because a lot of people are like, Tony G, is it spelled TONYG? But it's spelled TNYG Music altogether. My website is the same thing, so TonyGmusic.com. Merch, we have updates on what's coming this year on the low. But you have to subscribe to find out all that stuff. You get the newsletter and all that. But just at TonyGmusic.com everywhere.
All right, man. Thank you once again. Mr. Tony G in the place to be.